The effects of tax and inflation must be considered when analysing returns from an investment. Put simply, inflation is the general increase in the price of goods and services over time. In this video, we'll look at what inflation is, the effect on an investment, and we'll look at some examples of how to calculate the real rate of return on an investment. In another video, I'll look at the effect of tax. I've already said that inflation is the general increase in the price of goods and services over time. Inflation is a quantitative measure of the rate at which the average price level of a basket of selected goods and services in an economy increases over a period of time. General level of price means all goods and services increase in price. This doesn't mean the increase or decrease in price of petrol over the course of a week at your local petrol station. The increase in the price affects our purchasing power because a fixed amount of money or income will buy less goods and services if prices rise over time. Inflation impacts the returns from an investment. If you invest your money for 12 months and the general price of goods and services or inflation increases in price by 2% during the year, you will need to earn at least 2% on your investment to maintain your purchasing power. The real rate of return on investment takes the effect of inflation into consideration by indexing the original investment for inflation. In Australia, government inflation policy commenced in the early 1990s. This is around the time when inflation was very high in Australia. This meant that Australia would use policy to manage inflation. To do this, they need a target inflation rate, which was between 2 and 3%, highlighted in grey on the graph here. The inflation target is defined as a medium-term average. This means sometimes inflation might be slightly over or slightly below the 2 to 3%. The real rate of return is the percentage increase of the future value of an investment compared with the value the original investment would have risen under inflation. Another way to put it is the real rate of return is the annual percentage return realised on an investment, which is adjusted for changes in prices due to inflation or other external factors. This method expresses the nominal rate of return in real terms. Let's look at an example. Adrian invested $35,000 in a term deposit at 2.4% per annum for 2 years compounded monthly. Find the total or future value of the investment. Inflation during the period was 1.5% per annum. Index the original investment for inflation and find the real rate of return on the investment. First, we find the future or final value of the investment using the compound interest formula. We substitute in our known values and we can simplify this and we get the final or future value of the investment is $36,719.21. Now we index the principal value of the investment. In other words, we increase the original value of the investment by inflation, 1.5% per annum for 2 years. It's assumed here that you know how to convert the interest rate to a decimal by dividing by 100, and you know that we need to add 1 to it to increase the original value. This can be rewritten as 35,000 multiplied by 1.015 to the power of 2, and we get an index value of $36,057.88. Now use the graphics calculator to find the real rate of return. I have another video called Compound Interest Graphics Calculator, which details how to use the graphics calculator. Please refer to that video if you need a reminder. We enter 2 into n because there was 2 years. We're trying to find I, we just leave that as 0 in this case. For PV, the present value, we enter negative $36,057.88, which is our index value. For the FV, the future value, we enter $36,719.21, which is the amount the deposit grows to. In P/Y, we just equal 1, and the same in C/Y. And then we press F2 to calculate the interest, and we get the real rate of return on the investment over 2 years is 0.9% per annum when inflation is taken into account. Let's look at another example. You invest $50,000 in a term deposit at 2.55% per annum for 5 years compounded monthly. Inflation during the period was 1.8% per annum. Find the final or future value of the investment, index the original investment for inflation, and find the real rate of return of the investment. Again, we're using the compound interest formula to find the final or future value of the investment, and we enter in our known values. Simplify, and we get the future or final value is $56,791.56. Now we have to work out our index value, which is 50,000 times 1.018 to the power of 5, because inflation is 1.8% per annum. So we convert that to a decimal by dividing by 100. We add 1 to it, and then we have it to the power of 5 this time because the term deposit is 5 years. And we get the index value is $54,664.94. Again, we put this information into our graphics calculator. N equals 5, which is the number of years. The present value is our index value, and we enter that as a negative. The future value is the value of the investment after 5 years compounded monthly, which is $56,791.56. And we press F2 to find the interest, or the real rate of return, over the 5-year period, which is 0.766, or approximately 0.8% per annum is the real rate of return. And that's it for this video. Thank you.